Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, welcome to another week, another episode of the Medicine Ball Podcast. And you know what? In a world full of choices, you chose to be with me today. I never take that lightly. You already know how we do around this time. Before we get into it, yes, it's Medicine Ball with your boy LS3. And if you ain't in shape, at least your brain should be. Welcome to the Medicine Ball Podcast, where we focus on giving your brain a six-pack by exercising your mind. But what exactly does that mean? Well, exercising your mind means to actively think and deal with all situations by first seeking to do anything other than what you're normally programmed and comfortable in doing. Now, I already know most people aren't used to this way of thinking, but just like anything you want to get better at, it requires effort, training, and hard work. Now, if you're not somebody who actively looks for alternatives as opposed to reacting in ways that require little to no effort, because let's be honest, that's easier, this will first require that you begin to look at things from an unbiased point of view, which in itself will increase your curiosity in life. Now, exercising your mind and Medicine Ball won't give you all the answers. You will, however, begin to live with more peace, understanding, love, while simultaneously equipping yourself with tools and more options to deal with this thing called life and its adversities, all right? Now, I'm no doctor, no psychologist, no psychiatrist. I have, however, been diagnosed with bipolar disorder for 16 years, and I got to a point in my life where I was looking at the person I was becoming versus the person who I wanted to be. And that required me to look at my mental health in a responsible way. So, whether you're somebody who can use more tips to exercise your mind, or somebody who's diagnosed or related to someone who's diagnosed, or whether you're one of the many people who I'm sure could deal with some tips, tricks, and hacks to deal with this thing called life, pull up a seat, kick up your feet. Welcome to Medicine Ball. Let's get right into it. This week's episode, I've been more active on social media, man, and every letter of this acronym lined up with the day. We talking about habits, and that's just the plain and simple. That's the title of today's episode, man. This is season 2, episode 9. Thank you, Medicine Ball. So in case you guys haven't noticed, I've been way more active out here on social media. Promise you guys I won't look like one of the cavemen from the Geico commercial. I've been socially distancing, but I broke one of my good habits for the first time. And actually, I can't even tell you the last time I've even left the house without a mask and gloves, but I had something shake me up, and we're going to get right into talking about habits and how, you got to be really aware of what's going on when it comes to them, all right? And I'm going to hit y'all right off the bat with the definition. So the first one is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. And then it has another definition here, and it has psychology, the word psychology above it, and it says an automatic reaction to a specific situation. Now, I'm going to really hit y'all. Now, before I get into this further, man, like what I say at the beginning of my podcast, and we're going to get into it, but it does me good because, I could have definitely done more research with the things that I kind of like give information about and the patterns that I go after, but it does me good when I even with habits, I go see that. So interesting facts about habits. I took it a step further and what is it scientifically, right? Well, the first thing that I see immediately, and this is what I talk about when it comes to exercising your brain, it says that it takes about an average of 66 days before a new habit takes root in our brain, but habits never truly disappear. They are just overpowered by other habits. And a scientific study showed that most people who have daily bad habits are really exhibiting a sign of self-acceptance because it can cause their happiness. But here's the bigger part. Habits are a way for your brain to save energy. I always talk about being mentally lazy. And it's like people get mad about it, but it's just like since the beginning of time when the wheel was invented, if you're able to look at it the right way, pretty much every invention and breakthrough has been something to make things more convenient, quote unquote, aka lazy. I mean, even now as I'm doing this podcast, I just look to the left and I see a Xbox wireless controller with the wireless battery pack, right? And I'm about to show my age. I'm from the school of Duck Hunt. So it's just everything is quote unquote convenient, even a selfie stick. Somebody made millions of dollars because we didn't want to hold our phone. Bluetooth, we don't want to hold the phone up to our ear. Wireless controllers to turn on the video games. So let's get into habits, man. So I realize, and I say this all the time, man, if you cannot break a habit or just break a behavior that because it's too strong and there's too many things that are empowering that behavior, you have to find something to replace it. Like, I always hear people say, like, say you want to stop drinking or smoking. People say, well, then you're going to substitute it with something else. And like, the body needs to do that. Even that, to break a habit, substituting it with another habit, is just a way of just being more efficient, if you will. So, it's no secret. I've been talking more and more about my curiosity and wanting to just like really build my relationship, rebuild my relationship with God and Christ. And I was just able to kick in this stuff. I do Spanish lessons every day. I do smoothies every day. I post to certain accounts every day. So I just use that in the way that I'm able to follow habits to start with the daily Bible app. And again, anybody who's been listening, I'm a streaky guy. I'm all about a streak. So when I see that little streak counter, and I know it should be much deeper, and it is deeper than that when it comes to my relationship with God, but it's just like I keep going. So I do these devotionals because, it kind of started out as like, all right, I'm going to do one devotional a day. Then it was like, I'm just going to do one devotional day at night. Then it was like, well, I want to have 3 for morning, noon, and night. And long story short, I progressed, and I love acronyms. I love it's a habit to make things more convenient for me, and I like acronyms are easy. So the word habits, I come across a devotional that spelt it out and correlated them with the days. And through the grace of God and just me trying to be a virtuous person and having a good outline, and we're going to roll right into that, it lines up a lot with what that particular devotional said. And even to another extent, because anybody who listens to me knows one of the things I always talk about is like bonus points and getting wins. And we're going to get more into that, but it was a win. So trying to develop a new positive habit, devotionals, to get closer to God, I came across a devotional about habits, and it was just like bonus points, right? So it's like I gave y'all some of the like scientific ways to look at it and the definition or whatnot, but I'm gonna tell you the one thing that matters with habits and really anything, and we're talking for the greater good, not anything bad. If you, and I talk about this all the time, first of all, you have to know what you know and what you don't know. So regardless of anybody's religious beliefs, this is how I break it down. Most people can agree that there is a good and there's an evil. I'm not here to question what anybody believes in religiously. The bigger point I want y'all to see is that I chose to model myself after something good. Whether y'all believe the Bible is just stories and it's fake and whatnot, it's a story about somebody who's trying to do the right thing, right? And I can understand why they elevate Jesus and God, because I mean, you got to have something that's not human to model yourself after, right? So even when you want to go to break a habit and say you want to start a new good habit, you got to know where to get these good habits from outside of yourself, or else you would have been, kind of doing them in the first place, right? So I want to start there. Me particularly, and I was reading the devotional, but like my outline, and this is what I tell people when I dispute them or we're having a discussion, like, yo, I only use my logic based on like parables and the things that I read in the Bible. Piggybacking right off of that, the H in habit, healthy identity. And I promise y'all, like, you can't tell me it's a coincidence when I say at the beginning of every podcast, I got to a point in my life where I was looking at the person I was becoming versus the person I wanted to be. Who are you? Who do you want to be? Because that's very important. And that's the first thing with a habit. Like I always tell people, man, just like piggybacking off of a healthy identity, I think too often, and I'm speaking to myself as well, we lack awareness of like what's really going on, or maybe what our faults might be, or what our weaknesses might be. And to be honest with you, people who brag and boast about their strengths can't really know their strengths if they're not able to identify their weaknesses. It just doesn't work out. How can you have something to compare and contrast what a strength is to, right? So going right off of that, and again, we're talking about habits and how to form better habits and kind of how habits work. And these are things that I touch on like organically throughout my podcast and in my life as a person. So it was real refreshing to see it, related to something I wanted to get more further along in, and that's my relationship with God. So right off of the H in habits, healthy identity. Who are you? If you don't know, you need to maybe ask for help. And that's the A in habits. I'm not saying necessarily, really, I'm saying go to God, because that's what I do. But Even if you don't want to go to God, like you got to understand if you were knowledge, if you come in to a situation where, let's just stick with habits, it's a bad habit or whatnot. If you were truly knowledgeable about how to break that and the best way to go about it, you wouldn't be there. You wouldn't be there. So we got to know when to ask for help. And that goes back to healthy identity. You have to have some type of outline to pattern yourself after. And, even me reading this devotional was like me trying to get closer to God, who I just explained, I feel like is a good outline, right? Now, I want to keep the flow with this. And like I did post every day on my social media. So if you're hearing this and you feel like I'm going too fast, medicineballls3.com, or you can catch me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, medicineballls3. And each day I took some time to address each one. But we went to the H and the A, and we were talking about ask for help. How can you have an outline? Because if you're failing, and we're going to go right into the B of habits, something that comes from my particular outline guide is the forgiveness aspect. Like I said, no matter what your religious beliefs are, like I could commend something that's trying to pattern itself after something positive. So anytime I get upset or I get mad at someone, I try to think about like God gave his son and still didn't destroy us all. So that's letter B. Forgiveness equals be kind to yourself. Letter B, third letter. Be kind to yourself. Too often we are, our own worst critic, but you don't want to dwell there. And I always just kind of think about, like, I don't know who watches the Chappelle show, but there's a skit on there with Charlie Murphy and Rick James. And Charlie Murphy was like, man, Rick, you took it too far. And he's like, there's no such place. There's no such place. Let's go to the abyss. Right? Be kind to yourself, man. It's okay to get upset, see an issue, feel some type of way about it. Just don't dwell there. Don't hang out in the abyss. Like who wanna hang out in the abyss? Be kind to yourself. And if you're modeling yourself after Jesus and God, like the main thing that I have seen, and again, I'm not a religious expert, but just like loving God with all of you as much as you can, and follow right next to that is like relation into like loving your neighbor like you love yourself. Like it's forgiveness. That's basically what it's saying. Be forgiving. One of my favorite verses that I'm starting to come in, and I'm still getting there, y'all. I'm not trying to put myself out like some kind of religious guru, but I'm starting to like attach the stories, and I see it's a progression because it goes from, oh, I know this story to who told this story. But long story short, one of my favorite things is two of them. And if y'all know these passages, I'm sorry if I don't have them by heart. I want to do it organically. I could stop. But one of them is, who was it? And I'm not even gonna lie, that's the thing that get me, because I think it's like, it's either the book of Matthew, but he's talking to Peter, and he says something like, well, what if my neighbor, does me wrong 7 times? How many times should I forgive him? 7 times? And Jesus is like, actually, yeah, 7 times 70. And it's like, I'm a big fan of battle rap, so it's just like, I'll be reading, I'll be like, oh, and I know, matter of fact, I know it's Matthew, because there's another one in there where, and again, I'm paraphrasing, but it's letting people know about being a hypocrite. And it's like, hey, you can't tell somebody to get the thorn out their eye, and you don't even see the thorn in your eye. So it's just like, you got to be kind to yourself. And in relation to, kind of the devotional and, the way I look at God, like that, he's real big on that forgiveness. I mean, like a lot of stories, like, and, again, just me throwing on it, like, find out what gets you interested. Like, I love the parables. Like, I could tell you the stories all day. I could tell you one about the slave who the king forgave this debt, and then he went and got on the other slave. So it's just like, I really try to make it a habit to, follow that. And even with that, I get bonus points. You know what I mean? Like, even now when I eat some food, right? Like, I don't care if I'm on the phone. I don't care what's going on. Like, I make it a point to, like, slow down, humble myself, and be thankful. Like, we eat a lot of times, and those are opportunities where I'm just like, man, at the bare, and eventually that habit will take over. Maybe you were sitting there watching YouTube, but instead you're in a devotional. So I just want to kind of, give y'all some ideas of what's actually going on with the habits. using this acronym to kind of get you guys out of it. All right. So that was the first seg, Medicine Ball, LS3, season 2, episode 9, Habits. We're going to get you up out of them. All right. Check this beat. We're going to be right back. Yeah. Welcome back, Medicine Ball with your boy LS3. And if you ain't in shape, at least your brain should be. That's right, welcome back to Medicine Ball, where we focus on exercising your mind, giving your brain a six-pack. Season 2, episode 9. So, guys, the podcast is going to be late again this week, but let me explain. So first of all, we're talking about habits. I am exhausted. And when I say I'm exhausted, so again, if you follow me on my social medias, or if you just follow along with the podcast in general, you can kind of feel where I'm going with my beats. I've talked about it. If you know me personally, you know I've done beats for major people. But long story short, I started getting back involved in the beats, and I had some opportunities, and I've been praying about it. I made it a habit to pray about it. Even when I was looking at the dusty MIDI keyboard that I needed to replace, but I would still be praying, and I truly believe God put me in a situation to get my inspiration back. So I stayed up all night making a custom beat for my frat brother, and even today, I sacrificed, and I normally do my podcast right when I get done doing whatever I'm doing on Friday, and he came through with his nephews, and long story short, he wanted me to now record on the beat that I had just made from scratch. And it's just even in that situation, sometimes we have a habit of looking at people who expect a lot out of us as them being some type of way. But I had to stop at that moment when this guy is talking to me about bridges and choruses, and I'm trying to explain to him how the time signature works. I had to realize at that point, this guy has sacrificed so much for me. I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen to this thing, because I had to just punch in right there. Transparency, because I didn't say anything to make Google talk to me. I don't know what that was about. But long story short, on this beat that I put a lot of time, it was a banger, y'all. I'm not patting myself on the back, but it's just I am kind of talented. And he wanted to record a message that was relevant to what we have going on today in the black culture and the black society, and even in the country as a whole, when it comes to how African Americans or blacks are treated. So I had to weigh it up. I'm dead tired, but watch how I bridge this together. So first of all, I do devotionals every day, and I was trying to get into a habit of being more understanding, more loving. And this particular frat brother had got it into my head that, it's not necessarily always about whether or not you fail or succeed. You're getting a rep, right? A rep as in, if you work out or something, you're doing a repetition, because that's the only way you're going to get stronger, doing reps. So I was like, this dude has no idea how tempo works. He's talking about a bridge, and he can't even tell me how many bars. And it's he brought his nephews over, and they were younger, and they were being silly and whatnot, but I could tell they had been in the studio before, and they as well thought the stuff that he was asking was crazy. And it's just a couple of things there. So one, how else can you get into a habit of being a more understanding person when you have opportunities to be understanding and you don't take advantage of them? That was number one. Number two, it was for a good reason. The song is a dope message, and I ain't gonna put too much out there because he want to release it, but that was number two. Number three is when I said I'm tired. When I'm tired, you guys, not all the time, but as much as I can, it's in those moments that I make it my business to do whatever it is I least want to do. I don't care if it's, I'm tired, take a shower, roll the trash down to the street, go empty the dishes that's not yours. I try to pick those spots, and again, not all the time. And the reason I do that is because right now when I'm tired, dead tired, since I've started picking up a habit of pushing myself a little bit more, I'm able to get through the podcast. So bonus points And we're going to get right back into it, man. We at I. And this is something I talk about all the time. Like, I think I say it all the time. Like, when life throws you a curveball, I was talking about this. I in habits is for investigate and adjust. Now, so let's think about it so far. H, healthy identity. A, ask for help. B, be kind to yourself. I, investigate and adjust. You're not going to get it perfect. Like, and again, that's why I'm modeling after Jesus and God, because with me personally, when I do make mistakes, I can be kind to myself and investigate and adjust because I'm not perfect. Like, you know, as I read the Bible more, I understand that we are flawed, but it's okay because that is a design to help us know that we have to depend on something bigger and more kinder and better than us. God, whatever it is, all right? Investigate and adjust, man. Like, if you go out and people, you got to understand, man, like, if you were able to turn a habit immediately like that without having to adjust and whatnot, you probably wouldn't be in that situation in the first place. It's just like I tell people all the time. If you cannot budget $100, you're not going to get $10 million and you're going to be straight. You have to investigate what happens. And the most important part of that is adjust. Now, bonus points. Boom, boom, just those two. Investigate, adjust, internal affairs, right? Think about it internally. You got to figure out what's going on, and you're having an affair with yourself, like, not like a marriage affair, but just like you're at odds with yourself because maybe you're trying to get this new habit and it didn't work out. So you have to investigate and adjust. That's I. But bonus points, it's an internal affair. You got to look at it. You got to goes back to awareness and knowing who you are and who you're trying to be, right? Okay, so that was I. T. Man. And it's just like, I don't really like Joel Embiid, but T in habits is for trust the process. Again, this is stuff that I'm always talking about. Yo, sooner or later, you're going to have to follow through. I was talking about my golf swing. Like, you cannot play golf and not commit and follow through. At some point, you got to, like, commit and jump out there to see what's happened. Like, a lot of this stuff is, like, psychological, and it's just like, man, you'll talk yourself, like, I'm not gonna say when I was younger, but just like, I just remember my women around me always saying like, man, you done talked yourself out of the draws. You would do the same with yourself, and you could talk yourself out of your blessings, out of your successes, out of the beautiful memories and things that you create in your life. Because if you're talking to yourself and you're not involving the big guy, and this is me speaking for myself, man, like, we already just evaluated that we're too hard on ourselves. You're gonna, like, talk yourself out of anything, all right? So you have to trust the process. And I'm not saying every single time, but if you want to get to a point where you start trusting the progress to create new habits, you got to create a new habit by breaking that old habit of talking yourself out of it and not trusting the process. Commit. And you don't got to do it right, but you got to start somewhere, man. It could be something as easy. If you don't like to eat healthy, eat an apple. I'm not saying like, yo, let your friend who you at odds with just get their way and win the conversation. I'm not starting that. But heck, if your grandmother chumping you out because she had a cranky day, like, maybe you should swallow that. Heck, if my frat brother want to come over and he thinks that, and I thank you for that, man. Like, it really gave me my boost because I know you listening. If he thinks that I'm so great that I could take Audacity, right, and a desk mic, and pretty much out on the backpack, like, man, listen, man, like, that also made me see something in myself. So I had to, like, a bunch of things, man. Trust the process and go through, follow through sooner or later. And there's a big reason I'm telling you not to do it every time. And this is what, like, when I read what the S in habits was, like, I turned on my video, scruffy face and all, immediately, like, yo, I got to speak on this. What y'all think the S is for? Y'all not going to believe it. If you've been following me, the S in habits is for small wins. I kid you not. And that's a devotional. Like, it's one thing if you see a red bird fly across, you be like, I wonder if that's a sign from God. But if you're reading devotionals and a lot of stuff is kind of matching up and whatnot, you on the right path. Small wins. You need momentum. You need to add some gold coins into your purse so that it weighs it. I'm a Libra, by the way, so it balances out the scale, man. Like, it's not gonna happen every time. But heck, you can't even start to get to a better point of a new habit if you don't even try. Small wins. Y'all have no idea how often, like, we just talk about the smoothie, man. Like, I want to be a more thankful and grateful person. So, small wins. So, not only do I get closer to God, because every time I eat something, like I'm telling you, I slow down. I apologize for being ungrateful and I ask for humbleness. Even when it's with food, which is something we do every day, because it's bigger than that, because like it's your daily bread. And again, I'm no guru, but I get it. So outside of that, it's a chance where everybody will mutter off a grace. If you're trying to get closer, why not? Furthermore, while I'm getting closer to God and building a habit, then I start building another habit of like being overly grateful. We talked about it. Like, man, I'm sitting up here can't get my blueberries in this smoothie with my keto powder. Jeez Louise, man, I hope I can get these fresh strawberries and this specialty avocado flavor ranch sauce into my salad. Man, my father don't even eat salad, but he ate all my cucumbers. I'm glad I'm to the day where and I talked about my dad, like, bro, like I know, and I stop and I tell God, like, you know what? Eat all the cucumbers you want, because if anything happens for him, I'm gonna be wishing that happens. But small wins, man. Small wins. Even if you want to look at things scientifically, man, momentum, weight. If you add weight, it starts picking up motion. It's an object in motion. You use that as a momentum. And I tell people, you can lose 553 times. You know how many wins you need to go from a losing streak to a win streak? Like, think about that. That's one of the rarest situations ever where one win can take you from a win streak one win can take you from a lose streak straight into a win streak. If you lose 299 games and you win that next one, you're on a winning streak, man. Small wins, gain momentum, and you can even work it backwards. And because if you get the small wins, you're gonna start to trust the process, right? Like, we're moving backwards. So small wins will lead you to trust in the process. Then you will be more accurate when you investigate to adjust, right? From there, you will definitely start to be kinder to yourself, because you should be asking for help to lead you to a healthy identity. Y'all go and rewind that back. I ain't gonna keep y'all too long if y'all want to see what I did, because yeah, it's a kicker to it. I can work that same acronym from habits backwards to show you how those things will lead you to not only getting rid of a bad habit, creating a new habit, getting a double victory, and exercising your mind. How many bonus points y'all want, man? I got them for days. Yo, I'm dead tired, but the energy is there, because when I'm tired, I push myself just for these types of situations. And it's about that time I'm staying consistent. Yo, y'all already know, man. MedicineBallLS3.com. Now, my groups is picking up. I'm going to be honest with you, man. My Medicine Ball Facebook group is picking up. My Medicine Ball page is picking up. That's on Facebook. Instagram joint, I guarantee you guys, I promise you guys, man, I'm gonna have some trendy things popping by like within the next 30 days. All right, so I have a call to action. Go like, subscribe, share. I'm getting more control over my content. I'm dropping snippets. If you're somebody who wants to hear it during the week, I gotta ask y'all to get some action. Also, I sent out the email newsletter, and guys, yo, I'm trying. I'm really like such an unorganized guy, so it takes a lot for me to time my posts and send out the emails on time and things like that. But I'm trying to build a habit. All right, yo. I ain't gonna keep y'all too long. I appreciate y'all. You could have been anywhere in the world today. You was here with me. I'm dead tired, but my mind's still exercising. I love you. If nobody told you this, yo, keep your head up. We all go through things. It's okay to be human. Be kind to yourself. All right? It's your boy LS3. Go check the website, all the social medias. Like, subscribe, share, post. I love y'all. I'm out till we meet again. Yeah.